What if I told you that love is already moving toward you, quietly, secretly, and faster than you think? Not the kind of love you are used to, not the kind that confuses you, drains you, or makes you question your worth, but something completely different, something unexpected, something that feels almost impossible at first. Because there is a shift happening in your energy right now, and you may not even realize it yet. You are becoming emotionally ready for a connection that feels alive again, and somewhere, someone younger in spirit, bold, honest, and emotionally intense, is slowly being drawn toward you without even understanding why. This is not random, this is alignment. And when it happens, it will not feel like a game. It will feel like recognition, like your soul saying, I know this feeling. Imagine a person who doesn't hesitate to show interest, who doesn't play confusion games, who doesn't keep you waiting in silence. Instead, he shows up with attention, consistency, and a kind of admiration that makes you feel seen in a way you forgot you could be seen. And the most powerful part? He doesn't just look at you, he feels you. Your energy, your softness, your depth, your hidden emotions. And slowly, without force, he starts awakening something inside you that you thought was gone, that spark, that femininity, that quiet confidence, and before you even realize it, you are not chasing love anymore. Love is finding you. But here is the real question. Are you ready for a connection that doesn't confuse your mind, but overwhelms your heart in the most beautiful way possible, and changes everything you thought you knew about love? The first and most powerful shift in this kind of connection is how deeply you will feel seen. Not just looked at, not just noticed, but truly seen in a way that feels almost unfamiliar at first. Because most people in your past may have only touched the surface of who you are. They saw your smile, your appearance, your presence, but not what lives underneath it. Not your emotions, not your silent battles. Not the parts of you that you don't easily show to the world. But this person, this younger, emotionally alive energy, he doesn't stop at the surface. He looks deeper without even trying too hard. And that's what makes it feel so different. He will notice the things you never thought anyone would care about. The way your eyes change when you are thinking too much. The way your voice softens when you are tired but still trying to stay strong. The way you hide your emotions behind calm expressions, even when your heart is loud inside, and instead of ignoring these things, he pays attention to them, quietly, naturally, as if your details matter to him in a way that feels personal, not casual, and slowly, something inside you begins to shift. You start feeling more feminine again, not because you changed, but because you are finally being received in the right way. You feel appreciated without having to prove anything. You feel valued without having to explain yourself. And this creates a soft emotional comfort that is rare to find. Because when a woman feels emotionally safe, she doesn't just open up, she glows differently. He will also admire your strengths in a way that doesn't feel intimidating. Your independence, your maturity, your emotional depth. He won't run from it. Instead, he will be drawn to it, curious about it, respectful of it. And that respect creates attraction on a completely different level. Not loud attraction, but steady, magnetic, and real. And the most beautiful part is this: you won't have to perform to keep his attention. You won't have to act perfect. You won't have to shrink yourself or exaggerate yourself. You will simply be, and that will be enough. Because when someone sees your hidden beauty, you stop questioning your worth in front of them. Instead, you start feeling it naturally. And that is where the connection begins to deepen, not in words, not in promises, but in the silent feeling of finally being understood. There is a certain kind of energy that doesn't just enter your life, it wakes you up from the inside. And in this connection, that is exactly what begins to happen. It won't feel loud at first. It won't feel dramatic. It will start in small moments, short conversations, unexpected attention, a tone in his voice that feels different, a presence that feels a little too noticeable for no reason, and slowly, without you realizing it, something inside you starts responding. This younger, more fearless energy carries a kind of emotional boldness that you may not have felt in a long time. It's not about age, it's about attitude. It's about how freely he expresses interest, how easily he shows excitement, how naturally he engages without holding back or overthinking every move. And that kind of openness creates a spark that feels refreshing. Because where you may have experienced hesitation before, this feels direct. Where you may have experienced confusion before, this feels clear. Where you may have experienced emotional distance before, this feels close. And this closeness does something interesting to you. It slowly reawakens your softness, your playful side, your feminine energy that doesn't need to be forced. It just comes back naturally when the environment feels right. You may catch yourself smiling more often for no reason, thinking about small moments again and again, feeling a little more alive in your emotions. Not because someone is changing you, but because something inside you is being reminded of what it feels like to be emotionally engaged again. And then comes the attraction. Not the kind that is rushed or superficial, but the kind that builds quietly through attention and presence. The way he focuses on you, the way he reacts to you, the way he makes you feel like you are not just part of his day, but a highlight of it. That kind of attention is powerful. It doesn't shout, but it stays in your mind. And as this continues, your emotional walls start softening without pressure. You don't feel pushed. You feel invited. Invited into laughter, into curiosity, into lightness that you may have been missing. And that lightness slowly turns into attraction, not forced, not questioned, but naturally growing. Because when a woman starts feeling emotionally alive again, she doesn't just notice love, she starts feeling it differently. Deeper, warmer, more real. And that is exactly what this energy begins to awaken inside you. One of the most powerful things about this kind of connection is how different it feels when honesty becomes the foundation. Not confusion, not mixed signals, not emotional guessing games, but something simple, clear, and real. And at first, this may even feel unusual to you. Because if you've experienced love that was uncertain before, your mind might be trained to expect distance, delays, or emotional silence. But this energy is not like that. It doesn't hide behind excuses. It doesn't make you decode feelings. It shows itself in a direct, natural way. He will express interest without overthinking it. He will show consistency without needing to be pushed. And most importantly, he will not make you question where you stand. You will feel it in the way he communicates, in the way he responds, and in the way he shows up. There is a certain comfort in knowing that someone is not playing emotional games with you. That comfort slowly starts to relax your nervous system. You stop analyzing every message. You stop overthinking every silence. You stop preparing yourself for disappointment. And instead, you start feeling something rare, emotional safety. And when a woman feels emotionally safe, everything changes. She doesn't have to protect her heart all the time. She doesn't have to stay guarded in every conversation. She can simply exist freely without fear of hidden intentions. And this is where honesty becomes more than just a behavior. It becomes an experience. Because honesty is not just what he says, it's how he makes you feel. You feel included. You feel considered. You feel emotionally respected. There's also a purity in the way he shows his feelings. It doesn't feel calculated. It doesn't feel like strategy. It feels real, even if it's simple. A message that comes without delay, a reply that feels present, not distracted. A tone that carries attention, not obligation. These small things start building trust quietly in the background without pressure. And over time, this honesty begins to change how you love too. You stop expecting complexity. You start appreciating clarity. You begin to realize that love doesn't always have to be confusing to be deep. Sometimes the deepest connections are the simplest ones. The ones where you don't have to guess, don't have to chase, don't have to question your place. And in that space of clarity, something beautiful begins to grow. Not anxiety, not doubt, but calm attraction, a steady emotional pull that feels safe and exciting at the same time. Because when honesty is present, love doesn't drain you, it strengthens you. There is a moment in life when a woman doesn't just fall in love with someone else. She starts meeting herself again through that connection. And this is where something very deep begins to happen. Because this kind of person doesn't only bring attention or affection into your life. He brings a reflection of the version of you that you may have forgotten or maybe even stopped noticing over time. Slowly, without pressure, you may start to feel a shift in how you carry yourself. The way you dress may feel a little more intentional, not for anyone else, but for you. The way you look at yourself in the mirror may soften again. You may start paying attention to small things that once made you feel good, your style, your presence, your energy, not because someone is changing you, but because something inside you is waking up again. And emotionally, something even more powerful begins to unfold. You start feeling lighter, more expressive, more open to joy. Things that once felt heavy may not feel as heavy anymore. You may laugh a little more easily, think a little less critically about yourself, and allow yourself to enjoy moments without overthinking them. And this happens because when someone sees you in a pure, admiring way, you start seeing yourself differently too. He doesn't try to complete you. He doesn't try to fix you. He doesn't try to define you. Instead, he simply interacts with you in a way that reminds you of your natural energy. And that reminder is powerful because sometimes we don't lose ourselves completely. We just forget certain parts of who we are when life gets serious, responsibilities increase, or emotional experiences become heavy. And in this connection, those forgotten parts start returning. Your softness, your curiosity, your playful side, your confidence, your emotional openness. All of it begins to resurface slowly, without force. You don't have to chase it. It comes back on its own when the environment feels safe and emotionally warm. Even your thoughts about love start to change. You begin to believe again that connection doesn't always have to hurt or confuse you. That it can feel simple, warm, present, and real. And that belief alone starts shifting how you move in the world. Because rediscovering yourself is not about becoming someone new. It's about returning to who you were before fear, disappointment, or emotional exhaustion made you close certain parts of your heart. And sometimes a single person, through their attention, their energy, their honesty, can quietly help you find your way back. And that is exactly what begins to happen here. Not a transformation into someone else, but a return to yourself in a softer, more confident, more alive way than before. One of the most surprising truths about real emotional connections is that they rarely arrive the way we imagine them. We often think love will show up in a planned moment, with clear signs, perfect timing, and obvious direction. But in reality, the most powerful connections usually begin in the most ordinary, unnoticed spaces. And this is exactly where this kind of love may enter your life, quietly, unexpectedly, and without warning. It might not come from someone you are actively searching for. In fact, it could be someone you have already seen before, someone you barely noticed, or someone you never considered in that way. Because life has a strange way of placing meaning inside people we overlook. And sometimes the heart takes time to catch up with what the soul already sensed. At first, there may be no dramatic moment, no big confession, no sudden shift, just small interactions that slowly begin to feel different. A longer glance than usual, a conversation that feels a little more personal, a presence that feels slightly more noticeable each time. And even though your logical mind may not pay attention to it immediately, your emotional side starts registering something important. This feels different. And what makes this even more powerful is the timing. You may be in a phase where you are not actively looking for love. You may be focused on your life, your growth, your responsibilities, or simply your own peace. And that is often when unexpected connections find their way in. Not when you are chasing them, but when you are grounded in yourself. This kind of love doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't follow a schedule. It arrives in its own rhythm. And because of that, it can feel both surprising and familiar at the same time. Surprising because you didn't see it coming, and familiar because something inside you feels like it already understands it. There is also a deeper layer to this: intuition. Before anything becomes visible in the outside world, you may start feeling subtle inner signals, a shift in your thoughts, a repeated name or image in your mind, a strange sense of anticipation without reason. These are not coincidences, they are emotional preparations. Your inner world often senses change before your outer world reflects it, and when this connection finally becomes clear, it won't feel forced. It won't feel like you had to chase it or convince yourself into it. It will feel like it naturally unfolded. like two paths that were slowly moving toward each other without outrushing. Because the most unexpected loves are often the ones that feel the most natural once they arrive. Not because they were planned, but because they were aligned. And when alignment happens, everything else starts to make sense in a quiet, undeniable way. And now, as you reach the end of this message, I want you to sit with one simple truth. Love doesn't always arrive the way you expect it, but it always arrives in the way you need it. Maybe you've been through confusion before. Maybe you've questioned people, timing, or even your own feelings. But this energy we talked about today is different. It's not about chasing. It's not about proving anything. It's about allowing something real to recognize you when the time is right. And if you felt even a small shift in your heart while listening, don't ignore that feeling, because sometimes your intuition speaks softly before life speaks loudly. If someone new is truly entering your path, they will not bring confusion into your life. They will bring clarity. They will not drain your emotions. They will awaken them. And they will not make you question your worth. They will reflect it back to you in ways you may have forgotten. But the most important part is this: you don't need to rush it. The right connection will never require force. It will grow naturally, calmly, and in alignment with who you are becoming. So I want you to stay open, but also stay grounded. Protect your energy, but don't close your heart, because the love that is meant for you will not feel like pressure. It will feel like peace mixed with excitement. And when it comes, you won't need to overthink it. You will simply recognize it. Now tell me in the comments, do you feel a new connection is coming into your life, or have you already started sensing it? And if this message spoke to your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay connected, because your next chapter may already be closer than you think.